Hi, this is video number 388. This is the second video I've done today. I did another video earlier. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Weather here today is cold. It's very cold here today. It was 2 below this morning, and right now it's about 12, I think. But it was sunny. It's later in the day now. The sun's going down, so it's probably getting actually colder now. So it's 2 below this morning when I get up. Very cold. Last night I did go into my son's for New Year's tacos. Had about 5 or 6 tacos. They're really good. Laid off the dessert and had a lot of the cheese that was with the tacos was really hot, very spicy. So I decided to lay off the dessert. But yeah, I still had a good bit to eat, but I wasn't too full. Came home and watched some Twilight Zone episodes. That's always fun to do. I actually saw one that I had never seen before. I had thought I seen all of them before, but I guess there are a few yet I haven't seen. Let me see what else. Started the end of the year treasurer stuff this morning. Paid some of the taxes. Did a few other kind of payment things. I got a lot more to do on that though. Did an extra long workout this morning because we were going to have dinner over at my brother-in-law's house. I can eat more dinner that way. I can eat more food if I do more of an exercise routine. And we did have dinner over there. She had a center cut pork with sauerkraut, mashed potatoes, vegetables, and a Boston cream pie later that she had made. It was extra good this year. The meat was good. It really was good. Excellent meal. Excellent. But I didn't overeat because I wanted to eat something tonight too, because there's some football on. The video I did earlier today, it was actually, I think it was right around noon. It was about 18-minute video. And yesterday I had talked in the video about this lady at church, her brother, Frida's brother. His name is Lynn. I did the video. I put it on YouTube, unlisted. Sent the link to Frida. She is sending it to his wife. She's going to determine if it would be a good thing for him to see or not. And then Frida's going to let me know how that went. So we'll see. I hope it gets to see it, because I know for a lot of people going through something like this, like being able to at least listen to somebody who's gotten through his big time stuff, it helps a lot more than a lot of things. We got an invitation for 2 Sundays from yesterday, January 14th. It's called the Papa's House. It's a house in a city nearby here, York, Pennsylvania. It's for people that have no insurance and are poor, and like they're at the end of life, like for hospice. It's a house where hospice can come in and do their thing, like help people like with the end of their life and that. But the thing about it is, I had talked a number of months ago about last year discovering that I have another half sister. I did the ancestry DNA thing. I have this other half sister. She's involved. She's on the board of trustees of this Papa's House. So I might actually get to see her if we go to this. It's just a little get together. They'll have refreshments, and we had made a donation, so they sent us an invitation. So maybe I'll actually get to meet her. I think she's probably a really nice person. They had a bio for her on their website, and she does a lot of compassionate sorts of things for people. She was a school teacher for a lot of years, so I hope I get to see her. I just watched I'm not sure which bowl it was, but it was the University of Central Florida and Auburn. And UCF actually beat Auburn. They're the only undefeated team, they're the only undefeated team like at this high level. So they have a perfect season, no losses, unbelievable. I don't know why they're not playing for the championship, but anyway, they beat Auburn, and Auburn's a powerhouse. So the Rose Bowl is up next, Oklahoma and Georgia. So I'm a Bulldog fan. Go Dogs. Of the 4 teams that are left for the championship, I'd have to go with the Bulldogs. So go Dogs. Later tonight's the Sugar Bowl. That's Alabama and Clemson. Got to go with the Tigers there, Clemson Tigers. So we'll see how that goes. I would like to see Georgia take the whole thing, though. Let me see anything else up here I want to talk about before I go. Okay, let me see. I have 1 or 2 me see how I got a few emails since yesterday. Let me see how many I have here. I have 3. One I'm not actually going to talk about, but it's a response to a video yesterday that he put things in words that I had never actually heard him quite that way. I'm going to read that then. Okay, the first email is let me see. Let's see which one. Okay, I did respond in writing back with this one. It says, "Hi Don, it's so hard as this year ends to be hopeful for the next when suffering so bad at 11 months off. My depression seems worse, irritable, aggressive thoughts, urges very horrific. Have you ever seen others that had other issues other than withdrawal? Did you find traveling makes withdrawal worse? I'm just at a loss and scared how to make it another year." Okay. Okay, my response was, in withdrawal, there are so many symptoms that are so variable that it is hard to differentiate between what is withdrawal and what may be something else. For me and for nearly everyone I've seen get through withdrawal, the pre-existing condition is gone when withdrawal has ended. It seems that whatever the brain does to heal from withdrawal also takes care of the condition that the benzo was initially prescribed for, especially if it was a mental emotional condition. Traveling does often rev up symptoms of withdrawal. Some of that is probably from anticipatory anxiety and also some from the physical movement of traveling, like the speed, increased speed, vibrations, and so on when you're traveling. If you can, just try to focus on getting through one day at a time. It is less difficult that way. The day will come when you start to notice improvement and feel better. Okay. A little bit about this. Okay, pre-existing conditions. I think that's what she means here. Have you ever seen others that had other issues other than withdrawal? And as you know, in withdrawal, it's hard to know. While we're in withdrawal, we feel so bad in so many ways that we think, well, maybe this isn't withdrawal. Maybe this is something else. And by and large, it's not. It's usually not. Sometimes physical things, it's good to go get checked out just to make sure it's not something that popped up while you were in withdrawal. But by and large, it's usually just, it's all, withdrawal has so many, like a couple hundred symptoms easily, that it's easy to think, well, maybe this is something else. But by and large, it's not. And the pre-existing question which is what this actually is. How does she word it here again? Let me see. Other than withdrawal, that's a hard. I mean, we second guess ourselves a lot in withdrawal. I did. I thought, well, I have a mental illness probably. I was diagnosed with 3 disorders, and so and then when you have the experts in the mental health care system telling you need to be on drugs and that you have disorders, it makes it very hard not to believe that even if I get through withdrawal, I'm still going to have these pre-existing things. And for some reason, as I wrote in the response here, when we heal from withdrawal, it seems like if our condition was a mental emotional sort of thing, withdrawal just like it erases it. It erases it. I think it's because withdrawal, the symptoms of withdrawal, especially the mental emotional for me, were so horrendous that anything that led up to that in an emotional or mental sense was child's play by comparison. So I don't even, it's just a total healing in that way. It was for me, the mental emotional part. And as you've heard, Bayless say many times, you have a backbone of titanium when you get through this. The fear is gone and you're just a brand new person. So like pre-existing conditions, if they're mental and emotional, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody actually retain those after withdrawal was over. The withdrawal took care of them. Okay, the traveling. I do know that when I was in withdrawal, traveling was very, very difficult. Like the speed of it, for one thing, higher speeds, and then movement, sideways movement, vibrations, because you're still very, very sensitive to physical kinds of things, and it kind of revs up symptoms sometimes. It kind of makes you afraid, and then if you have the dizziness and derealization too, that when you're traveling at higher speeds and so forth, that it can rev those symptoms up too. And as you know, and as it is for everyone, one day at a time. Like you just get through time, you survive. That's all. It's hard not to think this could take X number of months yet. You can't. And I did that at the beginning, and it was very demoralizing at the beginning of my journey to think this may go on for a really, really long time. I don't know if I have it in me. Well, I did have it in me, but I had to get to the point where I broke it down into like 24-hour periods, one day at a time. Just get through one day. That's my goal. And then when I get through one day, I'll think about my goal for the next day. Okay, and you do eventually get better. I mean, you get to the day when like, okay, I think I'm feeling better here. So, okay, that was that email. Let me see what time I have here. Okay, next email. Let me see. This one's a longer one. Hi, Dawn. I have recently been watching some of your videos, and they are helpful. It's helpful just hearing that someone has been through this horrible experience and come out the other side healed. I am in very bad tolerance withdrawal with Klonopin. Like many, I am kindled after several failed tapers and updose that did not help, a failed Valium crossover, and being put on and off many drugs, psych drugs, over the past 5 years. I've gone from being completely functional and living a normal life to being bedridden and constantly terrified of everything. None of my distractions seem to work anymore, as TV, movies, and exercise are too stimulating. I'm so distracted by my symptoms that it's hard for me to even listen to music, audiobooks, podcasts, or do simple things like puzzles and word search games. My depersonalization is so bad that it is also extremely difficult to even talk with friends and family or to go for short walks around the block. I hear stories of people who are bedridden for months to years from benzos and other psych drugs, but I truly don't know how they get through each day without going insane. Not only can I not tolerate such a sedentary lifestyle, but when I do nothing but lie around alone, I ruminate on every negative thought possible, and it makes my depression and sense of hopelessness much, much worse. I'm terrified that I'm going to end up in a psych ward or worse, because my family are at their wits' end and don't know what to do with me anymore, and I have nobody in my life who understands benzo withdrawal. Any advice you could give on distractions and getting through the worst days would be very much appreciated. My comfort zone has just kept shrinking to the point that I'm no longer comfortable in my own home or even in my own body and mind. Thank you, and I hope you have a happy new year. Okay, and I wrote a response, and I'm going to talk about it some too. Okay, my response is this. I know this is a journey through hell that seems like it cannot possibly end. It does, though. I looked at my journey as a game of survival and nothing else. My goal was literally to survive a day at a time with the hope that when I got to the end, I would be well. That is what I read in the success stories every day. I did absolutely anything to pass time. I did anything that was repetitive and that required no cognition. I did latch hooking. I spent thousands of hours just sitting and hooking little pieces of yarn. It wasn't fun, but it got me through a lot of time. It didn't really distract me from my symptoms, but it did allow me to focus a bit. In many ways, it became my life until I was capable of doing other things. There was nothing overstimulating about it in any way. I also could not read, watch television, or do anything that was even a little stimulating. This is very hard for others around us to deal with. They cannot possibly understand. At first, all I could talk about was how miserable I felt. I was driving my wife crazy, so I eventually tended to stay to myself and not say much. You can do this. I know it's not easy, but it is doable. Okay, I want to go back up to the beginning of his email here a little bit. Okay, bad tolerance withdrawal. I was in bad tolerance withdrawal. Okay, kindled himself. That's common. Like, kindling is not an exception. It's very common, actually. It's the exception is when people don't actually get kindled, because we tend to do things, come off too fast. We do other things, and then we got to go back on, and it's actually pretty typical. I know everybody freaks out. Well, I think I kindled myself, like they can't possibly get well done. Well, that's not true. I kindled myself many times with booze, and then I had the cold turkey in the hospital. So that's pretty common, actually. Okay, crossover to Valium. A lot of people fail that too. For some reason, Valium does not agree with them. A lot of people will get more severe depression with the Valium. Not everyone, but some people do. We all react differently to all of these different things. Being put on all kinds of different psych drugs in the process, that happened to me too, happens to many, many people. And it happens with supplements too. You're trying all these different things that makes you worse. And okay, completely functional to bedridden and having all kinds of problems. Yeah, that's common. That's pretty common. Everything's too stimulating. I gave up exercise. I could not exercise in withdrawal. For 2 years, I just gave it up. And I was an exercise freak before that. And it's hard to distract. I never really distracted well when I was in withdrawal. I passed time. I got through time. But, you know, I still had all the symptoms. They were still kind of at the forefront of my mind. But I found if I did something very repetitive, like latch hook little pieces of yarn, that did help to get me through time. Music, I don't think I listened to any music really, because I could not enjoy it whatsoever. Well, I did listen to it. We have a jazz station on television. I would sometimes turn it on when I was latch hooking, but very, very low, just to give me the feeling that somebody else was there with me when my wife wasn't there. Let me see what else. Puzzle. I did puzzles. They were torture to do them, but I still attempted them. I would have anxiety attacks and freak out doing them. Word search games. I did a lot of word search when I was really, really bad. And I remember in particular doing a lot of word search after I got out of the hospital when I was in acute withdrawal. That was the only thing I could do. But then later, I did word searches later too, but not as many. I did other kinds of puzzles. Okay, the depersonalization, derealization, it makes it hard to connect with anyone or anything really. It's bad enough we have like the severe depression and the anxiety and the fear, but then when we try to connect, it's almost, we feel like we can't because of this derealization. It feels almost like it's not possible to connect. You know it is possible, but it feels like it's not. You see what else? You can't keep thinking about how long it's going to take. I mentioned that in the first email. It's a day at a time proposition. That's the way it has to be done. That's the only way it can be done. You have to try to think of the day when it's all going to be gone. You feel good again. You have to try to, like the hope, that you're reading success stories and the people telling you there is a really nice, bright, beautiful light at the end of this. Life is good. You have to, it's hard to believe, I know, it's hard to believe, but you have to hope that it's true. I didn't think it really was true, but I was hoping that it was true. The terror of going to the psych ward. I was in a psych ward. It was no picnic. Yeah, you don't really, that's not the best place to be if you're going through this. Family not understanding, other people not understanding, that's really, really common. I've talked about that many times. They can't possibly understand if they haven't been through this. In the video I did earlier today, Frida's brother, I mentioned that it's hard for anyone else to understand this unless they've been through. So they're going to make suggestions. They're going to get impatient. They're going to tell you to do X, Y, Z. And in the previous video this morning, I said, when I think about all of that, I think of like my eye doctor telling me, like, listen to Whistle a Happy Tune and you'll start feeling better and happy. Well, she was wrong. I knew she was wrong at the time even, because I thought, no, I can't, that's not going to work. Even though I did come home and I Googled it and I found a YouTube and I listened to it and it didn't do anything for me. Comfort zone shrinking. He's still tapering. It's hard. This is hard. It seems impossible. I know it seems like this is insurmountable, but it's not. This is not insurmountable by any means. But it's difficult. It is a difficult thing, and you try to take it in little chunks, like tapering and that, like going forward with it, knowing that you are approaching the day when you're going to be off, and then like there'll be a withdrawal, but at some point, you know, day by day, one day at a time, you do get there. You really, really do. Okay. Next email, let me see what time I have here. About 20 minutes. Okay, and this is one, I'm just going to read it. And there was a part of it that he expressed something in a way that I had never heard that actually is a very good way of expressing it, of describing it. It says, Happy New Year. It says, Hi, Don. Happy New Year. I hope this coming year will be great to you and your family, and the next good things will reach you sooner rather than later. It's always next good thing, always. I even talk about that at church with people who've never been through this. There's always the next good thing. Got to look forward to it. I know it's hard to do in withdrawal. Thank you so much for addressing my email yesterday. Stuff like that is really distressing to read, especially when under intense stress. It seems that person recovered only last year after being in withdrawal for 6 or so years. I too got the impression from his post that he drank during his recovery. If that's true, then it's no wonder he had symptoms pop up again. Actually, it is kind of amazing that person recovered at all. Drinking a year after recovery, and then getting hit with symptoms seems to happen to some people. Now that I think about it more, even the title of that thread is kind of misleading. Instead, it should read that symptoms reappeared a year after recovery. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people, they don't know, they actually do not know when they are in, when they're in benzo withdrawal, that alcohol is a no-no. I have known a lot of people that they go ahead and drink while they think they are healing from benzo withdrawal, when in fact the alcohol does not affect the receptors in exactly the same way that benzos do, but it does affect them, and it will prolong withdrawal. It just does. And the alcohol is what got me on benzos to begin with, and then when I came off the alcohol, then because I had drunk so much and the effects it had on my GABAergic system, it just made matters a whole lot worse. Okay, now the rest of his email here. On another note, I had an interesting experience this morning. I went out for a walk and I heard some birds chirping in the distance. It was so weird to listen to through this thick fog of derealization and boat-like dizziness. It seemed as if there was life behind the veil or something. It was even more bizarre to observe people do their regular activities outside. Kind of strange that there is life outside this fog. Yeah, when you're derealized, you don't feel connected, and you're having like the dizziness, and you feel that boaty feeling. It's like that there's this like a veil, a coating around you that you can't see clearly, but you can see. I never actually I don't know if I've ever heard it expressed quite this way. And then to see people out there and they're doing their regular stuff. There's life outside this fog. I mean, there really is. And in my earlier video today to Frida's brother, I talked about when I was in withdrawal and I would see other people doing things and laughing and enjoying themselves. And I would either be jealous sometimes, or I got to the point where I believe that's impossible. They're lying, they're faking it. No one can possibly be happy on this earth. It's impossible, because it had been so long since I felt happy, and I had myself believing I never really was happy. I was only faking it too. I was doing what all these people were doing. Yeah, but it's like a veil is around us. The veil does open, and the sun comes in, like the fog is gone, the sun comes in, and you can see clearly again. And when it happened for me, it was like wondrous. It was like the wonder of life in a way that I never knew. Maybe when I was a little kid, I knew it. But the veil does part, and life becomes good again, and you do see people clearly doing their thing, and then you understand, like pleasure. You can actually feel pleasure. They're not lying. They're not faking it. Fake it till you make it. That's not what they're doing. They actually are able to feel well, because you feel well too, and you realize that you were sick, and that these people weren't faking it, and life is good again, and that's the way it is. But a veil, yeah, I like that, where it's kind of like foggy, and you can see there's life going on, but you're not part of it, you're not connected to it. It's kind of like being in a bubble, yeah, translucent bubble or something, I don't know. Okay, so that was that email. I want to end here with an announcement. Susie Cohen, America's Pharmacist, is going to be on the 700 Club this Wednesday, in 2 days, January the 3rd, at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what she's going to talk about, but she, in her communication with this other individual who has a practice here in Pennsylvania, in Upper Darby, she mentioned that after she has that in like the following days, that she would be available to really dig into this, the withdrawal and things that, we can look into to make symptoms better, or maybe like find something that could reverse it or whatever, to make withdrawal less difficult, or maybe to actually end it. I don't know. So she's going to, after she has this this appearance on the 700 Club, then she's going to get into that. And then this other individual, and I suspect she has lots of contacts. I'm pretty sure he does too. They're both into like natural medicine. So and that would make you tend to believe that traditional Chinese medicine, probably he knows some things about that, and that would certainly include acupuncture. And if he himself probably, maybe he does not know that, he probably would know other experts in the field who do. So I'm starting to be more optimistic again. I kind of had lost it there for a little bit because, well, then I got involved with this Dr. Seuss-like book too, which I call the storybook. I'm going to call it the storybook. So anyway, she's going to be on the 700 Club Wednesday. It'll be interesting. I probably have seen her on some of the, like Dr. Oz and different things that I've seen over the years, but I didn't know who she was, but now I know who she is. And she really is very smart. She's very, very smart. And so is this other guy. I kind of want to more or less be the fly on the wall and maybe ask questions and like try to understand what it is when they go back and forth with their things, and just have an understanding. But anyway, I just want to let you know, like if you're curious, Susie Cohen and so forth, and what she knows and what she's going to talk about, watch the 700 Club on Wednesday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm looking forward to it. Once in a while, my wife will turn 700 Club on. Every now and then they have someone on there having to do with natural things, natural sorts of things that are more I don't know if you would call them biblical, but more natural, more, I'm not quite sure what the word is there. But anyway, okay, that's what I have for now. I'm almost at 28 minutes. I did want to come back today since this is Monday, and I did the video yesterday, and I did one this morning too. That one turned out well. I hope this guy's wife allows him to listen to it, to watch it, because it's very much like, the videos I do here on the website too. It's just, he's suffering from depression and anxiety and different things. They have him on 1 or 2 different drugs. I don't really know his story. And I expressed to him, like, what I have been told, like, is that this just kind of came out of nowhere. And sometimes I think when we get into that kind of situation, like with the depression and all that, it was boiling up for a while and then just kind of like exploded. I'm sort of thinking maybe if I hear from him, he'll say, well, this kind of stuff has been going on for a number of weeks, and then finally it just boiled over and into a big mess. And I told him about the website and how I told him about my experience with benzos and the withdrawal and all that, and that I help people like getting through benzo withdrawal. And maybe he will fess up, and I don't know, maybe he was on a benzo and he decided just off the cuff, like, well, I'm just going to get rid of these pills, I don't need them. And then he went into some sort of withdrawal, and he has no idea that it was the benzo. I mean, that's very possible. I hear that a good bit, like people, they've been taking a benzo for quite some time, and they decide, well, I feel fine, I don't need this anymore, and they just ditch it, and all of a sudden they fall into this mess, and they don't make the connection, what was the pills I was taking, and then everybody begins to think, well, they have a mental disorder or 2 or 3. So I hope I get to hear from him. I hope he gets to see the video, because I think he will benefit from the video. For me, it was success stories, getting hope from people. For him, like watching the video, maybe, well, this is one old guy that got through. Maybe he can help me get through this. I don't know, but it'll be awesome if he gets to see it, and then I get to communicate with him and get the real story, because it's interesting, because I have the story of people. I have this Frida's story, who is his sister, but she's getting the story from his wife. And it's not likely that his wife knows all of the stuff that is going on, because you know how it is when you're in this, and like even up to before you actually go into withdrawal, sometimes you're thinking things or feeling things that you don't make any connection. You don't really tell anyone else in your life about it, because you never made the connection yourself, so you just don't bother. So there might be a whole lot more to the story than I've been led to believe. And maybe if he didn't make the connection, maybe he will make the connection just listening to the video. It's hard to say. But I am hoping to hear from him, and if I do, I will come back here and report a little bit about, maybe it'll be something that would be helpful here. I don't know. You never can tell. So anyway, that's what I have for now. I'm going to go down here. It's a little bit after 5, quarter after 5. I'm going to get something else to eat, since I did not overdo it at lunch today at the early dinner. Maybe get some, I don't know, maybe some pretzels and cheese, or I don't know. I'll have to see. Get something to drink, some water, and get down there and watch the first football game, the Rose Bowl, and then later the Sugar Bowl. Maybe I probably won't get through the whole Sugar Bowl though. Probably by at the end of the first quarter, I'll be ready to go to bed. Maybe make it to halftime. I don't know. This is the last night I get to sleep before having Eli bus duty again. And he was in at my son's last night at the thing. He played with a video game for a good while. It was a really cool looking video game. And then they got out Nerf. They had these Nerf guns with these little, like, about 4-inch maybe dart looking things. They're kind of rubberish. But my son has like these Nerf guns and like hundreds of these little things that just shoot. I guess it's the ammunition, And we were getting into it. Like, there were so many guns, like a lot of the adults had them, and we were shooting them. It was kind of fun. I was really into it. I could have done that some more, but they all went upstairs, and so I gave it up. Maybe sometime when I'm in there, I'll play some more. It was fun. That was a lot of fun. But Eli was in there. He was doing it, and there were a couple of other little guys in there too playing. So, and then some of us adults were playing too. It was a good time. So anyway, I have Eli bus duty Wednesday morning. So tomorrow's Tuesday morning, be the last time I get to sleep. And then I think we skip Thursday too. He has a dentist appointment, so I think his mom is going to stay home and take him to that, and then he'll go to school. So we only have Eli bus duty 2 times this week, but then next week I think it's a full one. So anyway, that's what I got. Go down here, get something to eat, watch a couple football games, or 1.5 football games, and then head for bed. But and then any emails that I get, hopefully I'll get one from Frida saying, her brother watched the video and he's feeling better and would like to talk. So anyway, hope you have had a good New Year's Day. I'm looking forward to this year, 2018. I have high hopes, high expectations that some really good stuff's going to happen this year. So that's where I'm at right now. So hang in there. As always, I'm right here, and I will be right here. Bye-bye.